Hi, I'm Bill Bertolino with Unetixs Vascular. Today we're going to have a video showing how to unbox, put together, and set up your instrument for use. Before we talk about unboxing the instrument, you're going to need some tools. You're going to need scissors or a box cutter, Phillips head screwdriver. Before you unbox your instrument, first walk around it and check for any damage to the box. We do have a shock sensor on the front of the instrument, so if you see that this sensor has turned red, that means that the shipping has not handled it gently enough. And if you see any visible damage to the box itself, do not open it. Please contact your Unetixs representative first. After inspecting the box for damage, the next step is to remove the box from the instrument. I'm going to use a pair of scissors to cut my straps. Make sure you're not too close to the straps with your eyes, as they will fly out with some force. We're going to lift this straight up off of the shipping crate, or if the sealing space does not allow, use a box cutter to slit down the side and open it up. Now what you see here is the touchscreen monitor, so you want to remove that from the top. And then you'll have a plastic sheeting around your instrument. What you're going to need first is to remove the Phillips head screws. The next step is to remove the plastic outer wrapping from the instrument. And then cut through the plastic shrink wrap. Remove the printer box and the accessory box. And now we're going to unroll the unit from the shipping crate itself. Unlock the wheels. Grasp the handles and firmly roll the instrument down until the front wheels touch. Back it up and then drop the rear wheels down. The next step is installing the monitor onto your Unetixs instrument. Remove the Velcro strap. And the foam inserts. Now you want to access the back of the instrument. The cables to the monitor will be behind this access panel with 2 finger clips. And you will see the cables bundled together. Now what you want to do here is feed these cables up through the hole in the deck and then up through the hole in the base of the instrument. Now if you'll notice, behind the eye here, there's a little round set screw. Remove that before positioning the monitor. These 3 set screws on top are for mounting to the keyhole base of the monitor, and then pull the monitor rearwards. Lock the monitor back in place with the set screw. The next step is attaching the cables to your touchscreen monitor. The access panel here simply slides forward, exposing the connectors. You'll want to start with the sound and the power connectors as such. Take care to slide these inside of those wire keepers in the middle there and on top. That's sound, that's power. On the other side, you've got your touch screen and your video. Tighten these down with your fingers or a screwdriver. And put the access panel back on. Automatic cuff selector and the hoses. Open the cardboard box and remove your auto cuff selector. And your hoses. And to attach this, we're first going to unscrew the set screw, lift up the keyboard, and insert the set screw from above. Line up the holes. The next step is attaching the hoses to your automatic cuff selector. Unwrap the hoses, and you want to allow about 10 inches of hose from your clasp here. And you'll notice the hoses are different lengths. The left number 1 is on the left, and that is going to match up with the left number 1 setting here. These are a half twist connector, so line them up, give them a half twist, you'll hear the click. Make sure you do not misalign these hoses, as that could cause considerable problems in a patient examination. When you get to number 6, you'll notice there's a gap. Do not worry about that. There's a part that goes in between that and a small valve, which we will detail later. Do the same thing for the right hoses. Next, take your clasp and gently pull the hoses through here. This is going to attach to the handle to keep the hoses off of your printer and out of your storage drawer. Attach this on the right or left side of your handle, depending on which side of the bed the instrument will be situated, and lock in place with the small finger screw. The next step is attaching the hose hanger, which is found in the accessory drawer. And you'll notice 2 position screws on the deck. Again, this can be positioned on the left side or the right side of the instrument, depending on the bed position. Again, using a Phillips head screw, simply remove the 2 mounting screws. Install this with the hose hanger facing away from the monitor. Tighten the screws, and then use this to drape your hoses over when not in use to keep them from being run over by the wheels. In this portion of the video, we're going to show the installation of the Doppler holder. The Doppler holder affixes to the right front of the deck. Simply remove the Phillips screw, and you'll notice there's a small hole and the screw that aligns with a small post and a screw hole. So put the post into the hole, put the screw in the slot, and tighten down. The first connector on the front of your Multilab module panel is for the optional temperature sensor. It is a telephone jack style plug-in. It simply plugs in with a snap. The next step is to put your bleed valves in, which come in this small bag. These are inserted in between your automatic cuff selector and your hoses and the number 6 hoses. Again, you have that half twist. Lock that with a half twist and attach that to the number 6 hose and repeat on the right side. So make sure that this valve is installed on the number 6 hose because it will inflate steadily upon inflation. Right now we're going to discuss the front panel connections to your multi-lab module. Your automatic cuff selector has 3 connectors coming out of it. These 2 are for the pump hoses. They're marked left and right. Left will go into the connector marked left. Push in until you hear a snap. Same with the right. This is the information control for the cuff selector. This goes into the slot that says control. These are LEMO connectors. Do not try and twist them out left or right. They do not unscrew. They pull straight in and straight out. You will want to line up the red dot with the red dot at the top of the connector and push straight in. To attach that, rotate the cuff selector outward. This is the power connector, and this is the cable that goes into that. Simply line this up, press in, put the connector back in place, and tighten from above if necessary. The next connectors on the front of your Multilab LHS module are the PPG right, PPG left, and Doppler inputs. The PPG sensors are these devices here, and that the connectors again are the LEMO style connector with the red dot. You want to line that red dot up with the red dot and push straight in. The left connector, same as right. Line up the red dot. The last connector on the panel on the Multilab module is for the Doppler cable. The Doppler cable is this gray cable here. It has 2 connectors. One is a metal LEMO type connector. The other is a plastic connector. The metal part goes into the module like the PPG sensors. Line up the red dot, push in, and here. You'll see there's a little arrow there, and the probes themselves will say 8 or 5. Simply plug in the arrow with the slot, push in, and you're good to go. Most of the accessories can be found in the storage drawer of your Multilab instrument. To open the storage drawer, press with 2 fingers down and pull the storage drawer out. Some of the accessories you're going to find in there are your cuffs, your Doppler probes, 5 megahertz and 8 megahertz, ultrasound gel, your trackball, PPG sensors, Doppler cable, tape, and the bleed valves for your automatic cuff assembly. First of all, expose the 2 wires. One is the power cable, one is the USB printer cable. The printer you receive with your instrument may be different than the models shown. Let's simply hook the printer up. Put the ink cartridges in, fill it with paper, and you're ready to go. This portion of the video is going to talk about the rear panel of the computer. This is helpful to know when you're troubleshooting the instrument or if you should need to swap a computer out should something fail. Starting at the top of the computer, this is the power cable to the power supply. This is what's called the SIR-IO cable. This has a, again, telephone style jack that plugs in and out. Your keyboard connector, standard PS2, goes there. This is your video connector that goes to your touchscreen monitor. This connector here goes to your trackball. The other USB connection next to that goes to your printer. Underneath that, you have the cable that goes to your touchscreen monitor. This jack here is simply a network jack, and if you follow this through, this comes out here. This would be where your DICOM connection goes in here, so you do not have to remove the panel to hook up your DICOM settings. Underneath this, we have the sound connector for your video monitor. We have the Digi-I/O cable that is right here, and underneath that is the infrared remote connector. The last thing we're going to do is install the trackball on the system. This has a magnet on it. Simply place this on the deck of the instrument, drop the wire through the hole in the top of the cart, pick it up when it comes down here, find an available USB slot, plug it in, and replace your panel. Now we have all our accessories hooked up. Before we start the system for the first time, I'd like to walk through and discuss cable management. We have pneumo hoses, we have Doppler sensors, we have PPG sensors, and if you want your system to be easy to operate and not be fumbling with wires and the cords, the nicest thing you can do is to set your system up like this. Starting with your panel connections, you'll notice that I have these running through this top hole in the handle. That will keep these wires from drooping onto your computer. What I like to do, starting with my PPG sensors, is I like to have those come out and hang those on my hose hanger. I then put my hoses on like that so they're not touching the ground. And then I like to keep both Doppler probes in the Doppler holder. Some people are not clear about how these work, and they will try and slide these down from the top. That will cause these to break. Simply take this and pop it in like that. It'll last for a long time. Okay. The last thing to do is turn on the system for the first time. To turn the system on, simply turn the power switch in the on position. Now this one power switch will send power to the printer, to the computer, the automatic cuff selector, to the module, and to the monitor all at the same time. Make sure the operator of the system do not turn these components off individually. The system was designed for one-touch turn off and turn on of all the components. Now when you first turn the system on, you'll see a couple of things. This is no video signal. The power went to the monitor at the same time it went to the computer before the computer had a chance to generate the signal that you're now seeing. There's also one more part of the startup procedure that could cause concern, and you'll see that slightly into the program. What a lot of people will do is they'll turn the system on, they'll go run an errand, get a cup of coffee, whatever, and when they get back, the system will be booted into our program. You do not need to select our program from an icon on the desktop. Now when you see this, or black box, excuse me, don't worry about that. This is our system starting up. This small window here is the beginning of our communication between the computer and the port. If you look in the upper right hand corner and see numbers counting out, that is the communication being checked. Once the vascular has been checked and is okay, it will display vascular okay, and all the buttons will become available to you. Since the Unetixs Multilab is a Windows-based system, it's very important that it is shut down properly. Failure to shut computers down that are running Windows can result in malfunction of the instruments. Now, when you're finished with your examinations, we have a shutdown button on the touchscreen. When you press shutdown, that will initiate the startup process. So I'm going to press shutdown and simply wait until you see the screen go completely black. Once that screen goes completely black, that means it's now safe to turn off your instrument. It takes about 20 seconds, so just be patient. When you see this, go ahead and turn this in the off position. Next time you start up your system, it'll start up correctly. Just as we detailed the startup of the Multilab instrument, the shutdown is just or more important. Instruments that are running Windows operating systems, if not shut down properly, can malfunction. So in this video, we're going to sign off with shutting your instrument down properly. You can shut it down two ways. One, you can press the exit button, which will take you to the Windows desktop, and then you can use your trackball to click on Start, Shut Down, Shut Off, and OK, but that's 4 or 5 extra button pushes. We put a shutdown button right on the Multilab touchscreen, so to start the shutdown process, simply press the shutdown button. Now after you press that, and we simply wait for about 20 seconds, and when you see a black screen, then you can use the shut-off button at the bottom to turn all the system components off at once. Once you see the black screen, go ahead and touch the off button. Thank you for watching the video.